back to the 12 Cards of Christmas. This is Tracy with Bewitched Crafts, and today I have a really fun card project for you. As usual, we're starting with a white daisy card base. It is 5.5 by 4 1/4. And we're going to be working with the Comfort and Joy paper pack. So this is a double-sided sheet of pattern paper, and I've cut it down and cut 2 strips from it. So they are 5.5 by 2.5. And they're going to be our card front. They are going to overlap. So I'm going to put down the stripe pattern first, and then I'm going to overlap it with this avocado green pattern. So let me just get my Tombow, a little tape runner on these, and we'll be started. I like to work with this matte grid. Keeps everything very straight and easy to line up. I'm actually going to put this side down first so I can overlap them. And I'll cover up the seam this way. Okay, we've got a good start. Next, I'm going to die cut some poinsettias. This is from the Comfort and Joy Scrapbooking set, and I'm working with the poinsettia, and I've cut 3 from White Daisy Cardstock and 1 from New England Ivy. I am using the largest of the thin cuts for these flowers. These flowers are going to go on this seam, and I'm going to layer them. So the very bottom one will be New England Ivy. I'm going to layer them, kind of offsetting them to make a fuller flower. So you can see just a little hint of that green shows through. But to make this a bigger, better flower, what I'm going to do is kind of create a cupped shape here. So I'm going to end up with seed pearls here in the center, and I'm going to curl these leaves. I want to give it a little bit more definition. So before I do that, let's put some almond ink on the edges. I'm going to work with a sponge. Some people like to go direct to the ink pad. You could do that as well, but I'm looking for something subtle. I'm hoping that's showing up on the camera. It's just giving the tiniest bit of definition to the petals. So we're just sponging this on. And I'm going to do this to all of them. And this is actually my new favorite way to do poinsettias. I used to do them all in red with like a scarlet cardstock. And now I much prefer using either French vanilla or white daisy like this one, and doing this almond technique. And we're going to fill the center with seed pearls. Now this is going to be my top flower, and so I'm also going to add ink here to the center. So it'll be under the pearls. So I can. So we don't need a lot. I just want to make sure that if anything shows through underneath, it's kind of got that tint to it. So I'm just going to keep applying the almond very generously around the edges. Last one. You could also do this with our sponge dauber. Or like I said earlier, you could go direct into the ink pad if you want a stronger look. I'm going for something pretty subtle, so I like the sponge technique, but you do have options. We'll get that out of the way, and we'll start building our flower. So I'm going to put my thumb kind of at the base of the petal, and I've got a paintbrush that's kind of thin, and I'm going to roll kind of up and out. See the difference? So my thumb again is at the base, my lovely broken nail, and I'm just rolling up and out. I'm going to do this to all of the flowers. So when I offset the petals, we're going to get a very full flower on the front of our card. If you are mailing your flower, you may not want to do quite as much curl. You may want something a little smaller so you don't have a huge thick envelope to go through the post. You can really work this paper, so if you don't get enough curl or lift on the first pass, it's actually easier the more you've loosened up the fibers to go back and do more. So just play with it. If you don't have a paintbrush, you could try a pencil. My thumb is at the base of the petal. My paintbrush is underneath. I'm rolling up and out. All right, all done there. And again, that's the top. It's got that ink on it. To construct my flower, I'm going to be using a liquid glue. I'm going to start with the New England Ivy base and apply glue right in the center. I'll put down my first layer and offset it slightly. Add more glue. Offset again. I'm just going to play with this a little bit, see where I want it. There we go. A little bit more glue. And we've built a very full flower. Now the touch that I really like to add are these seed pearls. This is going to take a while to dry because we're going to apply them with liquid glass. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down on my card front. And I will actually go ahead and set a small amount of glue directly on the card, right where I want it. And press down into that. Oh yeah, it's really coming together. All right, so liquid glass is the product I'm going to use next. Liquid glass gives a cloisonné effect. So it's like an enamel. It's raised, and it's got a subtle shine to it. And what we're going to do is get that right in the center of the flower where we put that almond ink. It's very thick, and it comes out slightly cloudy. It is going to dry clear. So I'm hoping you can see that. Let me see if I can get the light on there for you. Okay. These are close to my heart seed pearls. I'm just gonna kind of pinch out a few, drop them in there, and see what we get. Now obviously they aren't all going to stick, so when the liquid glass has had a chance to dry, I am going to have to shake off the excess. But that liquid glass takes a very long time to dry. It's thick, it's heavy, and I used quite a bit. So I am going to let that dry overnight before I attempt to shake off the excess seed pearls. Now, this card looks beautiful, but I still have a few steps I'd like to take to really jazz it up. We're going to add some goldenrod stickles and bronze sequins to finish off this card. Stickles, again, are going to take a long time to dry. So I'm going to use them fairly heavily on the lines on this pattern paper. And again, I'm setting this card aside overnight. So I'm just kind of randomly selecting thinner lines in the pattern. So you see how there are heavy lines and there are thinner lines? I'm just going to kind of create a random design by adding stickles to the thinner line in varying lengths. And I'm going to go in odd numbers. It's just one of those basic design principles that will help to make the card look deliberately designed. And let's add a little bit to the top. Great. Almost done now. I think it just needs a few sequins to set it off. When you open your bronze sequin pack, you're going to see that it has several different shades of bronze for you to use. These are self-adhesive, so I don't need to put down any additional glue. You are going to want to be careful though when you remove this from the carrier sheet to be sure that you get both the small adhesive dot and the sequin. It's very easy to pull them apart. You can use your paper piercer. You can use like a Cricut tool that's offset like this, or you can use your microtip scissors to help you. I'm just going to add a few. I think I'm going to use the lighter color and the medium shade. I think the dark and the very lightest I'll set aside for another project. These are also in varying sizes. So I've got a large one here. Just going to lift that off the carrier and apply it here. Let's put maybe those two together. Let's try this lighter shade. Press that down. Let's do one more. There it is. Thanks for coming back for another version of the 12 Cards of Christmas. I hope you'll come back again tomorrow to see what's next.